I mean, not related to Kellen Moore leaving and coaching changes and all that stuff, but Darius Slay gone. Now, some people think he will stay, rework contract, we'll see. But as of now, word is he's out. We'll talk about it with you today, 215-592-9494. Tyrese Maxey might be out. He hurt his back last night. I hate to say it because I love him, but I got to imagine first reaction of many people was...
Take your time, fella.
I was going to say, that's good news, but that's another way to put it, James.
Just rest. Just rest.
It really
and stay resting.
Yeah.
Tyrese, we need you right, but not now.
Trying to help you win a championship, my man, and better players help more than bad players, and the sixth pick helps more than the seventh pick. So, all right, we'll see where that goes.
This year, a lot more in that case. The sixth pick helps a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Flyers, they play tonight. They got a shot for the playoffs, so we'll see what they can do. All right, look, all of this with you on the phone lines. We'll do a lot of Phillies as well. Ruben Amaro with us in about an hour. All right, 215-592-9494 to hop aboard the phones. Rich.
Hi, Joe.
Hello there, Johnny.
Over 60% of the world's lakes are in Canada.
Wow, that's a wow.
That's
a wild fact.
Amazing.
That is wild. I'm blown away by this.
That is a wild fact.
The world.
Yeah.
60% of the lakes in the world, all in the country above us.
Do the man-made lakes
I'm not
count?
sure
all
on
the
that
Pocono
front.
lakes that are like all those man-made lakes?
I don't know about
James,
the
you know about
man-made.
that? That was like some smart guys like, I want to build resorts and let's build lakes, and that way we get people here and we build homes and we make millions of dollars.
Seems like that was a good idea.
We had a home up there.
Yeah.
It did. Why aren't we that smart? We got to freaking wake up at 4 a.m., 3:50.
Yeah.
Earlier.
All I had to do is say, let there be lakes.
I always wish
And then do it.
I always wish I were one of those guys that had a great idea, but
I know.
I never have any great
Could you
ideas.
imagine?
Yeah.
All right, so hello to you, 215-592-9494. John, let's get to the Darius Slay thing. So it's pretty big news. Darius Slay's been an outstanding Eagle, really has 5 years here. Quite an addition. It was a little bit of a turbulent ride at times. There were points when he irritated us. Obviously, the very first season, he wasn't as good as he ultimately became. I think he was banged up that year. And it showed, but a lot of people didn't necessarily recognize it. Look, a champion, a guy that made 2 Super Bowl appearances with the Eagles, a guy that was an All-Pro, a guy that a couple years ago shut down Justin Jefferson, which was wild, and certainly someone who, in Super Bowl 59, was a huge part of stymieing Patrick Mahomes. While most of it was up front, we can never forget the tremendous coverage in the back seven and how that gave Mahomes nowhere to throw. So today we get into the Darius Slay thing and just basically take your reaction at 215-592-9494 and what you think it means. And, John, whether it worries you. What is your mindset, John, this morning?
Slay leaving does not worry me much because I don't think that he'll be gone long. I understand I might be wrong. I understand he might go to Detroit.
Yep.
But by releasing Slay, we're saving $4.3 million. And when I heard that number, I was troubled. I'm thinking, man, that doesn't seem like much of a savings. We must really not be, seeking his services any longer. But then I looked at the fact that the 2026 number was $17.8 million that you're saving. This team is saving a lot by cutting Darius Slay, but designating the post June 1st cut designation. $4.3 million this year against the cap. We're saving $17.8 million for 2026. The Eagles could choose to re-sign him at a lower price for less years, and I think that's probably going to happen.
You think this was a negotiating?
Awesome
you think it was a negotiating tool?
Sure. He was awesome last year. Now the Eagles are pitted against his former team where, he's sort of split his career between these two teams.
Right.
Both are good. And that's where things stand. We also have the young and good and cheap cornerbacks waiting in the wings that we all feel great about. And we also hope that we can re-sign Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers, who basically filled in for Slay all of last year when Slay couldn't get out there on the field. Isaiah Rodgers, who made $1 million last year, a contract that was 1 year, $1 million. I know it's going to be more than that, but the fact that he we paid him that last year, and this is where he's comfortable. This is where he feels good. He can be a starter here, opposite Quinyon Mitchell. We feel comfortable sliding him right in. I'm not saying he's $1 million. I'm saying a couple years for, 10, 15 million bucks. It's not breaking the bank, and you feel pretty good about depending upon him if you need to. And by the way, all of these players net comp picks. Howie's feeling good about the fact that even Isaiah Rodgers, who is a restricted free agent, who, by the way, probably has some loyalty here because Howie took a chance on him when he was still suspended, if you'll recall. He's suspended. Howie says, you know what, Isaiah, we're going to put our arm around you, bring you into the fold. I think that counts for something in Isaiah Rodgers' book. But the fact that he will net comp picks, that's the hard facts of all of this. Howie is still ably preparing for the future, and we can all feel good about that. I do think Slay knows that this is a great place for him to stay. Everything else being equal, I think the Eagles have a better shot to win.
Yeah, the problem is
whole shebang next year.
The problem is it's not equal.
What do you mean it's not equal?
The money's not going to be equal. I mean, he's going to get more money somewhere else, which is why he's probably gone, which is why they probably
I don't know.
This is why they cut him.
I don't know that he'll get more money somewhere
Likely.
else. And if he does, maybe it's not that much more, so much more that it merits him going elsewhere.
All right, so look,
but the beauty of it is, if he does go elsewhere, Isaiah Rodgers filled in for him this whole year.
Well, you got to keep it. You got to sign him.
I know, but Isaiah Rodgers was played on a contract for 1 year, $1 million.
Yeah.
It feels like we might be in a comfort zone negotiating with him where we don't have to break the bank, where we give him a lot more than he's ever made before. The guy who we showed faith in, good faith, taking a chance on him when he was suspended, welcoming him to our team when no other teams would.
Look, there's so many ways to go about this, and I'm just fascinated at your reaction on the Slay situation. First off, also, if he is truly gone, and I tend to think he probably is.
Why? Why do you think he probably is gone?
Because they cut him. How about that reason?
A pretty good reason.
How about that?
It's a decent one.
Because he's now officially not an Eagle. I mean, technically June 1st, but they cut him. That's why I think
this
he's
kind of
probably
stuff
gone.
happens all the time, where you get cut and you're right back on the same team. I did it twice, I think. I think I did it once as a Raider, once as an Eagle.
Yeah, but you were a pushover.
No.
You signed here for less money. Most people don't. Most people don't.
Right.
Most people don't.
Okay, how do you know?
Because I know most people don't.
Most people don't. John.
I don't
Most people
know.
don't.
John.
I think if a player has a situation where he gets to go home, then sometimes he will.
Well, Darius
Slay's home is more Detroit than here, probably, right?
Probably.
Why?
All right, so
but I mean playing home,
All right, so here's the deal. 215-592-9494 to weigh in. So I would love to hear, your tributes might be a little strong. But listen, this guy gave us a lot. He gave us a lot. And by the way, at times we gave him the business. So, the Darius Slay thing, if he is truly gone, your opportunity to give him some praise for the 5 years of service of the Eagles, which really were 5 damn important years. I mean, they came from the ashes, the disaster of 2020, and built this thing up, and he was a big part of it. So I want to hear from you on that. He was a really big part of it. 215-592-9494.
And it was a long time, and it was from the ashes, and it has been a lot of coaches and a lot of other players. And he's been when you look at those, I look back at some of those videos. There was something on the news or something revisiting Slay, through the years.
He was really
looking
good.
so different. He has been here for a while. His career has been long, and it has been very successful.
It has.
But it has been split pretty evenly between us and Detroit.
All right, so here's the deal. So you can obviously give him props, 215-592-9494. Now, let me give you my reaction to Darius Slay being released. James, I've got 4 words written down as how I feel primarily. What do you think those 4 words are?
No, I'm just kidding.
What do you think they are? Take a guess.
Thank you, goodbye.
And so it begins.
Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, and so it begins. What does that mean? It means the losing of players that were really good, players we got attached to, players that helped the Eagles win a Super Bowl, and players that without the Eagles are extremely likely to be a lesser team next year. And so it begins. Look, guys, we're going to find out over the next week and a half. The Eagles are going to lose a lot of really good players. And that's why I say, and so it begins. The reality is my reaction to this is I'm really bummed. Now, am I surprised? No. Am I bummed? Yes, I'm really bummed. Because I know the Eagles are extremely likely to be a lesser team. Does it mean they can't win a Super Bowl? No, it doesn't mean they can't win a Super Bowl again next year. But it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. Guys, they had an all-time roster this year. They were healthy at the end of the season.
They were sitting their starters in the Super Bowl. I bet it will
stunning.
Be hard.
It was stunning. Like not since before the salary cap had you seen a Super Bowl, maybe other than Seattle and Denver, where it felt so completely lopsided. Like, this Super Bowl looked like the kind of Super Bowl, and people, 45, 50 years up and older will remember, Super Bowls used to be blowouts with frequency, because you just had a far superior team. You go out there, you kick the other team's ass, and you keep them all the next year. That was the way football was. Then the salary cap came in, and this is what happens. You have a great team, and you lose parts. And really, very few teams have been able to maintain. That's why when what New England did, and Kansas City to a lesser extent, the dynasty thing, that's why, even though to me it was incredibly fun right after the Super Bowl, it's a dynasty. I mean, some people before the Super Bowl, dynasty. And I was like, yo, slow the roll, man. Like, am I going to tell you it's impossible? No. Am I going to tell you it's unlikely? Yes, it's really unlikely. And this is an example. Guys, imagine if the Eagles played that Super Bowl without Slay, without Kenny Gainwell, without Becton, without Milton Williams, without Josh Sweat.
They probably wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl.
They might.
No. They would have just won 40 to 30 instead.
So, they're going to lose good players, man. And my reaction is, I accept that it's the rules, and this is what happens, and there's no discredit to Howie. Okay, he's not a magician. He's not David Blaine. Can't make these guys all stay. But I'm bummed. And I am aware that my team next year will likely be a lesser team. And by the way, maybe a little dramatically so. Your reaction.
No.
Well,
no, this team is still the world champion.
Imagine Bradley.
They've got so much
Imagine
talent,
it's Bradley
even
Fletcher.
Without
Imagine it's Bradley Fletcher.
And
That's
unrestricted free
I'm just saying, Rhea. Because those 2 seconds that Mahomes had to pass, and he was under incredible duress, if it's Bradley Fletcher, he can get that ball out.
I'd rather have Bradley Cooper out there.
Kerry Williams. Give me another one. Nolan Smith? Was that
Nolan Carroll.
Nolan Carroll. Nnamdi DRC.
Byron Maxwell.
Oh, my God. So I'm just saying, guys, that's my reaction. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just telling you that was my reaction.
That's not Debbie Downer territory at all, Joe.
You know what? And so it begins. Your thoughts, your reaction, 215-592-9494. If you want to pay tribute to Darius Slay, go for it.
Begins the comp picks that Howie's so excited about. If these guys go elsewhere, he's hauling in all of these picks to get new guys to replace the old guys.
I'm just not in the mood to think about 2028 yet. And I'm not the dummy that says don't think about it. It's a factor. But, man, oh, man, you just want to keep striking while the iron's hot. And, my reaction is I'm bummed. All right, your reaction, 215-592-9494. Do you think there is too much? Like John's one of the many that have said, he'll want to stay here and he'll give us a discount. Do you buy that?